name is Eric Volden, and I'm the Director of Admissions here at Seward County Community College. And welcome to what is the first of a whole lot of Saints podcasts, because I don't need to tell you that this year has been unlike any other. These past few semesters have been unlike any other. So we want to kind of bring you these informational sessions with different departments and divisions around campus to kind of help you get a better feel of our school and definitely get more in-depth into some of our programs. One of the first programs we have here today is the agriculture program. I am hanging out with Mr. Nick Noterman and Mr. Joshua Morris. These guys are our ag instructors here at Seward County Community College. So, guys, tell us, a little bit about yourself and how long you've been here at Seward County.
Well, like Eric said, I'm Nick Noterman. I've been at Seward County. It'll be 7 years starting this fall. Lived in Kansas 15 years, grew up in Colorado, and been in agriculture my whole life. I teach all the animal science classes and then teach part of the business classes with Josh. We split some of those duties.
Absolutely. I'm Josh Morris, and I'm the other ag instructor, and I cover the agronomy, crop science, horticulture, greenhouse kind of classes, and then it gives farm and ranch management that we split with Nick. Eric, I got to ask you a question. You know where you'd be without agriculture?
Hungry.
And naked. Hungry and naked.
That's right. Nobody wants that.
No, we don't. That's how we can prevent it. Nick and I can teach you how to prevent that.
Oh, very cool, guys. So we don't want anybody hungry and naked. Especially me. All right. So guys, tell me, some more about the ag program itself, because I know the ag program is actually like a big umbrella of programs, and they're like different degrees and certifications and that kind of thing. So tell me a little bit about what students are going to learn when they come into your ag program.
Yeah, you're going to come in and we're going to teach you the foundational knowledge of agriculture, the introductory classes. So we've got different kind of program levels. We can start you off with our ag certificate, and you can start that if you're a student resident in Kansas. You can start that your junior year in high school and have that completed in 2 semesters. So that's kind of our first step into our program.
Yeah, and then you don't necessarily have to do a certificate, but more times than not, whenever you do an AAS, which would be our second type of degree, you can end up graduating with both certificate and AAS. And AAS just is in simple terms, is a degree basically to get you geared up to go straight to the workforce after 2 years of college. So you would take a few gen ed classes to get your feet wet there and get some of the knowledge you need, and then take a bunch of agriculture classes with Josh and I, and help you get ready to leave SCCC and go straight into the workforce. And then our third one would be the AS degree, which would gear you up to send you on to a 4-year school. You'd come here for 2 years and then work to transfer on to a 4-year school to obtain your bachelor's, and wherever you wanted to go from there after that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of our 3 main pathways of our program.
Within each one, though, there's so many different options, too. It's important to mention that all of them are just agriculture degrees, but then what you want to specialize in, whether you want to go with crops or with Josh, animal science with myself, or if you want to do ag business, you have all those different options. And we have a plethora of different classes to pretty much meet every student's need on whatever they want to learn in ag.
Oh, Nick, you know what? We forgot something. We got a new program that we're starting this year.
Oh, yeah, that'd be good to mention.
We got to mention that. We got a degree certificate and Associate of Applied Science in Grain Elevator Operations that we're partnering with an area industry partner, Skyland Grain, that we're going to start this fall of 2021. That's going to be a blend between agriculture and in the industrial tech campus here at Seward County Community College.
Yep, huge things with that.
Exciting.
So you guys, okay, we got the grain elevator operations thing, and I'm kind of glad that we're talking about this, because I was definitely going to ask you about that. It's such a brand new program. I mean, like we don't know a whole lot about it, and you guys are like on the cutting edge. Of course, we have grain elevators, as far as the eye can see in our area.
Just about any small town in western Kansas, they're going to have a grain elevator.
I mean, you don't even need to have a town to have a grain elevator. They're anywhere.
Yeah, you guys have driven through Twitchell lately, right? All right. Yeah, The grain elevator operations, and I heard that's going to be a combination between ag and industrial technology. So tell me some more about that. What kind of classes are they looking at, and what kind of goes into that grain elevator operations?
Yeah, it's pretty unique. We're pretty excited about it because it's like one of the only ones
out there. That's what we don't know that for sure, and we're not going to make that claim because they said we can't. But I think we're one of the few that have a program basically set up like this. There's other programs that are similar to it, but I think what we're trying to do is it's from what we can tell, it's one of a kind of a deal. And essentially, it's just to get students prepared that are interested in going to work for a grain elevator operation and teaching them the basics. So some of the classes, Josh and I will have a couple classes. Just an example, I teach an IPM class, which is Integrated Pest Management. Josh will teach crop science, crops judging, learning how do we judge our crops and what. So as an elevator industry, the end product of that yield is usually some sort of seed or the fruit from that. And they collect that at the elevator, and you got to know what a quality one looks like. And so that's what crops judging, so they can help, if they're out in the field, they know what a good, healthy plant is that's going to produce a good, healthy seed. Yep. And then with that, some welding classes will be incorporated into it, electrical theory, a lot of safety classes. Skyland Grain is very big on safety, along with all the other elevators out there, not just Skyland Grain. I mean, safety is obviously the number one most important thing, so we have a lot of safety components to it. And then a capstone class, which is basically a real-world type scenario that the students will have to work through before they can get their degree and graduate and go on into an elevator program.
And it's not tied into the program because we couldn't quite work the timing in. We really wanted to, but we're highly encouraging anybody that completes this to look at a CDL at some point too.
Yeah,
because it just makes you a more desirable employee by the time in that industry.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're definitely going to talk with Mr. McCarthy about the CDL truck driving. He's going to be in the studio. Going to get him in here because truck driving, a very popular program, and like you guys are saying, everybody's hauling their grain back and forth from farm to the elevator, hauling their cattle for wherever they need to go. So absolutely, CDL is definitely a valuable license to have there.
Oh, especially in the agriculture industry, it's like you said,
it's needed.
Yeah, you've got to have something along those lines, or have a really good friend that has it, and hope that they're willing to help you out for free if they could.
Yeah, that's a really exciting program, that grain elevator operations. We're really excited to get that going this year.
Yeah.
So speaking of some of those, we kind of touched on it just a little bit, but we have the Associate of Science, Associate of Applied Science. We're talking about crops, we're talking about judging, we're talking about livestock, we're talking about the business, the agribusiness aspect of it, grain elevator operations. So what kind of job prospects, what kind of after college prospects can students look forward to graduating from your program?
Oh man, that's
something Nick and I work really hard, because of that umbrella that we tend to fall into. Nick and I work really hard to try to get our students, some internships coming right out as quick as we can, because that real world experience you're going to gain from doing that is just invaluable. You can't put a dollar figure on it. Just the experience, it's priceless, so to speak. And so we work really hard to get some of those.
Yeah. Well, and to add with an internship that I think a lot of students forget about, that it's important to note, is an internship, I think, also not just the experience, but teaches a student whether that's a field they want to go into, or whether that's maybe not what I want. Which from personal experience, if you get the opportunity to do it in college, do it. Because when you get done with college and you get out in the real world, that's not the time you want to determine whether, I want to go do this job, and you get there and you're like, that isn't for me. I should, and internships help prevent some of that stuff. As far as jobs, though, Eric, from the animal science side, just most animal type production, not being a veterinarian, we could get someone to that path. That would be a transfer degree, obviously, where then they would have to go to a school that offers vet school and graduate. But, feedlots, dairies, swine production, if we had poultry production close by, that would fit right into that. But, from the animal science aspect, pretty much anything that deals with animals, feed salesmen, Not a full-blown nutritionist, but we can sure get someone into the nutrition side of the industry with some of the classes. Business, work into helping with some accounting stuff. You can start here, work to be, bank loan officers. It's really an endless deal that we could go on and on and on about to tell you about all the different jobs. But that's the nice thing about agriculture is we encompass everything out there under one umbrella. So,
and some on the plant side, the agronomy side, certified crop advisors, advising those production, farm and ranch managers. Even if you're not going to end up as a certified, a crop advisor your whole career, the experience you're going to gain from doing that, so then you fully understand the production cycle. Like Nick mentioned, the business side of sales, being able to understand, hey, when do I need to be selling those inputs like fertilizer and nutrients and all those things? You got to understand when they're needed to make that production better, and then hopefully, the end product is the best you got. So those experiences, like, any of those kind of jobs that you can get earlier on, is just going to make you that much better down the road.
A lot more well-rounded.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and then, of course, with the grain elevator operations, just pretty much anywhere in the United States where there's a grain elevator. So.
Yeah. In a nutshell, because they're everywhere.
Yep.
And that's the one nice thing about agriculture is it will never go away. It's the backbone to everything we do. So jobs are always going to be there, and they're going to be good jobs. Good. Not to say you're not going to work hard, because ag tends to be. We work real hard at what we do, but we like to say we work hard, but we play harder. So.
And the rewards you're going to reap from that is
huge,
plentiful, bountiful.
There we go. So, guys, tell me just how long do some of these certifications take? I know some are we looking at a year, 18 months, 2 full years? What are some of the timelines for these degrees and certifications?
So 2 certificate programs, you can get those in a year, in 2 semesters. Now our advanced degrees are Associate of Applied Science and Associate of Science. You're looking at 2 years to complete that.
Yep. Providing you pass classes and do what you need to do as a student.
You got to do your part too.
Yep.
Yep. So if I was coming in for grain elevator operations, it'd take me a couple of semesters.
Yep. For the first level certificate.
Ideally, it would take 2 semesters to get the certificate.
And then we can decide, and we can sit down and help plan you out. Do I want to advance that and go the AAS route of grain elevator operations, get some of those general education courses, and then kind of just make kind of give you a little more experience.
And get you your Associate of Science degree before going into the workforce.
Cool. So, and let's say, just hypothetically, I'm wanting to go into, farm credit or something like that, and I'm wanting to go to OSU or OPSU when I'm done. So, how long is that going to take?
Your bachelor's degree, you're looking at minimum of 4 years, closer to 5, depending on your timeline, how many credits you take each semester. But a bachelor's, you're every bit of 4 years to complete that.
So you would get your associates here in 2 years, and then we would transfer you on to the school of your interest. So if it was BOPSU, we would get you the classes that you need here that are going to transfer well into OPSU. That way you don't set yourself back. You'll get to OPSU and have the classes that you need. And you'll get down there, and if everything works out, you should easily graduate from there in another 2 years. So 4 years total of college to receive your bachelor's degree.
Awesome. Well, yeah. So like 1 year for certifications. We got 2 year for an associate's degree or an associate of applied science, and then either ready to work or ready to continue education.
Yep. Exactly.
That's exactly
and that's
right.
important to note too. With that, that's if you start college right after you graduate. With Kansas having the ability to do some of the high schoolers can start classes, we have graduated high schoolers actually a week before they graduate from high school, so they're obtaining their high school diploma and then obtaining their
agricultural certificate.
Yep,
so to speak.
all at the same time.
Very cool. Yeah, and that's definitely one of the advantages that we have here in our kind of what we got an 11 school service area. that if you're able to take high school concurrent classes, I mean, do it, because a lot of them are paid for. Some of you guys' classes are tiered, correct?
Correct.
So that's at no cost to high school students. So if you're at least a little bit interested, high school is a great time. Like you guys were talking about internships earlier, you see that all the time with some of these students. They'll come in and say, yeah, this is what I want to be. This is what I want to do. I want to go into accounting. And then about a year and a half into their accounting, they're like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yep.
Or something like that. So internships are very important, and starting early in high school, so you can kind of get that idea. It's like, hey, is this something I want to do, or do I want to look somewhere else whenever I get my high school degree? So,
Yep. And it's great for this. I mean, the Kansas high school students, they have such an opportunity that's just, it's huge, because we see it all the time, Josh and I do, where, you get to go into a degree and basically find out if you like to see it. And so we see kids transfer from one area to another because, they got in, like for instance, they might come to ag and say, hey, I want to do ag. And then they come to classes and they're like, you know what, ag's just not for me. I want to go work on cars or diesel motors. And so it basically takes that decision change and prevents them from setting themselves back, if that makes sense. That makes sense how I explain that?
Yeah.
It doesn't put you in a bind.
Yeah.
Right.
And one of the things we should mention, if you're a junior in high school, that can present some challenges as far as age-wise working for some of these.
For internships.
So these internships we're speaking of are typically going to be more somebody graduating in that senior year if you've had some of our classes, or maybe that summer after your first semester out of high school.
Most companies we work with, they have to be minimum age of 18.
Liability issues, insurance, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very cool.
But we can get that conversation started when you're younger. Meet those people. Hey, this is a good student. We think he's going to be a good one in the future. This is one you need to look at, maybe possibly looking at for one of those internships. So we get that conversation started. We call that networking,
Yeah, half of it, 50-50, guys. It's a 50% what you know, 50% who you know.
That's exactly right.
There you go. Start making those connections now. All right, guys, I think we're getting close to ready to wrap up this segment. Anything else that you guys want to talk about? Anything we haven't covered yet? What do you got?
Scholarship opportunities for ag.
Absolutely.
We have scholarship opportunities for ag for anytime you can get free money, you're crazy not to do it. So if you're interested in ag and want to come to school, come hit Josh and I up. If you get a hold of Eric, he can shoot you our way. But we've got the scholarship opportunities to help kind of cover some of those funds for you, whether you need books or whatever it might be. We have those opportunities. Josh and I like to try to do as much hands-on working, so Josh is outside with his classes. So if you're the type that doesn't like to sit in a class all day and be lectured to, and who are we kidding? Even instructors don't necessarily like to lecture all day. We try to take the most. Obviously, this last week we couldn't do a lot because it's so cold and people don't like the cold. But we try to get outside as much as we can to do some things hands-on, see it as we go. And I think from learning, that's huge to be able to do some of that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a greenhouse. We can be outside in some regards, in a controlled climate, so to speak. And we did. I had some students that were doing some stuff in these cold temps we've had the last few days.
Yeah, another one, we're growing fish just because why not grow fish?
I was going to ask you about that. Are you still doing like the hydroponic?
Yeah, we got some
aquaponics
aquaponics going on in there. So aquaponics, we're including an aquatic species in the hydroponics, which is growing plants without soil in water. We can show you how to do that too.
Yeah, and we actually, Josh actually figured out how to get real good at growing fish. So now he's
we're breeding them. We got livestock kind of things happening.
He doesn't have a degree in it, but he has the know-how to teach you how to grow fish.
And one of Nick and I joke about this. It was just because some students wanted to try it. So we're all about like learning some new things too. If it's going to benefit us all down the road. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
And fish fry is a secondary benefit there too.
We're thinking more fish tacos.
Yeah, I'm not going to say there wasn't ulterior motives to doing some fish. Let's not kid ourselves, but
there's an end use.
It's a win-win. Students get to learn some stuff, and we get to eat some fish. So
yeah,
so that's something unique. Absolutely
cool.
Keep in mind these cold temps. It affects plant growth. These things. Some of the stuff we talk about in class. How's that going to impact that plant down the road after these kind of things happen? We joke in the ag industry, wheat's got 9 lives. That's one of the plants growing right now, and agronomy side of things.
Yeah. So there we go, guys. Is there anything else before we kind of wrap it up?
No, we just appreciate we getting to be the first one of these.
Yeah, not just the first, but the best. I mean, let's be real.
There we go.
We just set the bar high.
I don't know if I can say that, but
We're gonna.
yeah. Anybody on campus knows I'm not afraid to say that.
And I'm not going to say that you guys are the best because this is our first one. But I
We
will
get
say,
logistics.
you guys will probably be one of the most entertaining.
Absolutely.
So there we go.
We're gonna make it fun.
We tried to do that every day in class, so
There we
win-win
go.
again.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Noterman, Mr. Morris, for coming in the studio this afternoon. Of course, Saints Podcast. We're going to close this one out. If you have any questions, you need anything, don't be afraid to hit us up. I'm going to put up our admissions contact info up on the screen right now. Give us a call, 620-417-1100. Email us, admissions@sccc.edu. If you have any more questions about the agriculture program or any of our other programs, want to know how to get into scholarships, want to know how to start grain elevator operations or crop production or livestock, anything like that as far as agriculture, give us a call on that number on your screen. Thanks a lot, guys, once again, and we'll see you next time.